Hi Chileans, hi hot sauce lovers, hi collectors, and hi Hellfire fans. Okay, so we're gonna keep on rolling with year 2009, and we're gonna talk about the ho 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 art bottle reserves. So, first we looked at the, of course, hot sauces that were created by Hellfire back in 2009. And everything started in 2008. All the paperwork, the creation of the company, and everything. And then by 2009, with the 2008 pepper crop, they started making the sauces that were now sold as Hellfire. But already in 2008, Merle had in mind to create collectibles. See, he was a collector himself. He collected, bottles from other makers all over the place. And, he said, well, I'm going to be creating my own collectibles. So he knew an artist, Steve Batson. And that guy was, an artist potter. So Merle asked him to create a bottle, to put hot sauce in there and, have a bit of a devil face on there. So he first came up with a few, protos to show Merle, and they looked like this. And of course, you got the devil face. It's a little, nice. It's brown. And as you can see, he even took, see, it's cork. But on top of the cork, he glued on his skull face. Okay? And of course, this is prototype number one, but this is the original, the first prototype, and it says hot. Now, of course, now Merle said, nah, we're going to work on that. I'd rather have the bottle look a little more like a hot sauce bottle since it's a hot sauce company and we're going to be putting hot sauce in there. So, of course, it was just a little too big. But one was actually made with a blue glaze. Uh, Instead of brown, because there's a few of those, okay? Maybe 5 or 6. And some of them are even, resin sealed and everything, but there was only one blue, and he kept it all the way to the end before he decided to finally let it go and sell it to me. That one was bought from another collector. Okay, so that was the first prototypes that Steve brought in, and of course Merrill, looked at the different details and said, "No, I want it to look a little more like a hot sauce bottle." So Steve went back, created a few more protos, and brought them in. So there was a second batch of protos, and actually in that second batch there were 3 of them. Okay, I have 2. I have these 2. Okay, and there's another one, even a little smaller than this. Because when you look at those bottles, if you look at the size, see, oh, same size. If you look at the height, oh, same height. Okay, so he based his Bob Protos on a Tabasco bottle. And of course, this one, well, is a little higher with all the wax that's on top of there, okay? And these bottles, these 3 protos. So those 2 and the one missing. By the way, the one missing is not too far from here. It's in another collection. So I know I've seen that bottle myself, okay? And I got those 2. So those were the first 3 bottles to bear the name Hellfire, okay? It wasn't a hot sauce, no. it was an art bottle created for Hellfire. And the first one was the one in the other collection. This is number 2 and number 3. So Merrill said, well, no. Hey, I don't sell my sauce in a Tabasco bottle, you know. We use woozies. yeah, it's Hellfire, of course. So, okay, Steve went back home, started working on the bottles again, and came back with a few more protos. So, look at this one. We look at this one. And we look at this one. Okay. So some details on here. Now, that's 3 protos from the same batch of protos he had created for Merrill. Of course, they always have that cap there with the face. Like every single bottle has a ceramic cap glued to a cork in order to seal the bottle up. Okay, they all have it, all of them. Now, when you look at these protos, okay, first of all, you see this big lump of wax on the side. It's because when the artist, you know, made the bottle bigger, of course, we call this type of bottle a face jug. Okay, called the artists that make those bottles with faces, face jug artists. So when you talk about a jug, you talk about a little loop on the side that helps you drink out of the jug. So those lumps of wax are actually covering a loop, you know, that he had put on the bottle, and Merrill didn't like that at all. It's probably why he actually covered it in wax so that people wouldn't see this. And those 3 bottles are completely different, okay? Reason for that, see, prototype number 1, Hellfire, and nothing else, okay? Which one is this one? Yeah. Okay, so this one here says Hellfire, and then on the back at the bottom here, it says Res 09, Reserve 2009. And then the third one, okay, says Hellfire on the top and Reserve 09 right here underneath the face. You know, the thing was, okay, you want me to put it in the front? The face is a little smaller. But if I put it in the back, it allows me to make, you know, stretch the face and make it a little bigger. But now we were close to the final, okay? So they were a little big, but already they had the proper size here, but not the proper height. And of course, that was changed with, of course, you know, Merrill is with details, eh? So, bing! Now we look at a bottle that really looks like a woozy, okay? And this is, by the way, number 8. And this is number 4 of the 2009 Devil Bottle Reserve from Hellfire, okay? Now, already we can talk about number 4. Something special. See, those came in a plastic case like this, okay? So you open it up, you put your bottle in, and bingo, it's protected, you know? So it came with a casing like this. Now, if you look at the case of number 4, because of course it was one of the first ones, at the time he probably sold and shipped the bottle, he had to send the case along. The case says 4 of 10. Okay, only 10 were planned at the time. And finally, I guess the demand was a little higher than expected. So they decided that, okay, we're going to do more. So they went on to do more and more and more bottles. And of course, they sold a lot of them. But see, those are handmade. And it takes a while to, make the bottle. And with all the different little details and the writing and then cooking it and everything. So they planned to do maybe 100 bottles, maybe 50. But by the end of the year, they had just passed a little more than 25 bottles. Okay. And, the next ones came after the holidays. But the artist marked them as reserve 2010 because we were now in 2010. But hey, no. That's a 2009 reserve. So Merrill said, no, I can't take those because for 2010 we need to change. Okay, it has to be different. And because, it took so long to come up with just those a little over 25 bottles back in 2009, well, we should start working on a 2010 bottle right away. So, boom, that's when these stopped being produced. Okay. And of course, when I bought my own, which is number 8, because when I first started collecting, of course, I was collecting number 8 because my birthday is on the 8th of December. And as I post this, well, yeah, it's in a couple of days from now. So that's number 8. And this one also has a little something to say. First of all, it says 8 of 24 because by then it was now official there would be 24 bottles. There were a couple more made, but it was kept to 24. Okay? Reason for that. Some of the bottles that Merle waxed came out with, it seemed like kind of special effects, okay? So he had 3 favorites within all of his bottles. First one was my number 8. Okay. Oh, that's 4. Let's bring 8 up. Bing. Ah. You see, number 8 was a number that had never been picked up throughout the whole lineup of bottles. And at the time, he was left with 3 bottles. 3 bottles. 1, 2, 3 bottles. And those were his favorites, okay? This one he had given a name to. That's number 8. But if you look at the eyes, see? There's wax in both eyes. And if you look on the side here, see? Something was kind of crossed off. And what was crossed off was red eyes. The name he had given that bottle because of the red eyes in the skull cap. Oh. Another special one. So this has become a bottle from the run instead of one of his 3 favorites. So it's going to remain a bottle from the run from now on. But there's 2 more that were, part of his trio. First, the mask. Okay? This one is called the mask. Because when he did put the wax on, it covered his eyes. And see, 2009 reserve, the mask, 1 of 1. Okay? Because that was not part of the run. And there's another that he had set aside. And this one has, a long story to tell, okay? So, it's this one here. Look at the texture of the wax on top of that. Okay? Now, this one, of course, says 2009 reserve, and oh, it's the cauliflower head. 101, because it's not part of the run. And the cauliflower head refers to the texture of the wax. Now, let's go back to episode 1 when we looked at the 2009 bottles, the Woozies. Back then, on that first episode, I showed you that, he had created 2 new labels for the extreme heat. One was used and the other one was not. And the other one had a funny texture of the wax. Look at this. I told you back then I would come back with more of that bottle. See the texture of the wax with all the bumps and everything? See the texture of the wax and the bumps and everything? Those 2 bottles were waxed at the same time. And the reason for the texture of the wax was that it was starting to be cold. So there was lumps in the wax. That's what caused that texture. But those 2 bottles were done at the same time by Merle. So you see, there's a lot of history sometimes behind those bottles. And I remember when I first started collecting, the Hellfire bottles, I would write to Merle almost every day, sometimes twice and 3 times a day, asking questions about the bottles because I wanted to know the story behind it. And of course, now you see why I know the story behind those bottles. And that came for me, from watching the Antiques Roadshow. Because sometimes, they come up with something and say, oh, this is that stuff. And, usually it's worth that much. But because it belonged to such and such guy, or because it was, given by the author himself, or it adds to value. So knowing the story behind the bottles can sometimes increase the value of your item. Okay? So I recommend to collectors to know what you have. Okay? So someday maybe you'll be the one telling the story. Hey, so yeah, Merle. Some of those can go back your way. Okay? You want a pre-Hellfire? You want a second run of Proto? I got 2. You want a third run of Proto? I got 3. Yeah, they're all different, but hey, you're Hellfire. And from the run, of course, I got 2, and I got so you could again get 1, and from the the mask. Yeah, if you want the mask, that's yours too. Okay? So those, no. That one goes back here. That one is going to remain with me because it has a story to share with that one. So the only other one that wasn't in another run was the mask. So that's up for you to grab and put in your display. All right. Thank you for watching, guys. We're coming back next time with 2010. So until then, well, you guys take care and bye-bye.